Curtis Sliwa, The Drive at 5, 77 WABC.
Speaking of Ajita, 526 on the drive home at 5. I loathe, I despise the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Oh, they're all for toots in Jersey celebrating his 67th birthday. They're lining up like lemons to get his brand new autobiography. And no doubt, one of his number one sycophant toadies and lackeys, right behind Shamu LFA Chris Christie, is Steve Adubato, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster on the PBS flagship and author of the book, Lessons in Leadership. I understand, Steve, you were number 2 online for Springsteen's autobiography, right behind Chris Christie.
And, Curtis, I was proud of it. And I would also say that when your book comes out, I'll be the first one online because it's got to be an incredible book because you have an incredible life. And, but come on, it's the boss. You got to give him respect.
Well, I give him no respect because he's a Hillary Rodham Clinton supporter, tried and true. He gives no play to his number one fan, Shamu El-Jefe, Chris Christie. But let's go to the debate last night, and specifically, I want to play you a cut. And the cut has to do with paying taxes.
Maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools or health.
Now, that remark by Trump inserted into her presentation, that makes me smart. How do you think that went over with the audience of what is reported now to be about 81 million eyeballs?
Well, Curtis, let me say this. First of all, I am no Hillary Clinton fan. I find her to be not very trustworthy, and I just think that he made her look great. And in that particular interchange, for him to not have the self-control, Curtis, to shut his mouth, to not take the bait and not try to get credit for not paying federal taxes. Curtis, you did. I did. Everybody who is a law-abiding citizen did. And all I know is this. If his accountants figured out how he, making millions and millions, billions that he talks about, figured out how to not pay any federal taxes, even if it's by the letter of the law, in the average person's eyes, that looks terrible. It looks greedy, and it looks like, Donald, I paid, you didn't. That did not help him, but his ego, his hubris got in the way.
All right, but if you're sitting down with Donald Trump and he recognizes he got slapped up at Hofstra, when the second debate comes up, what advice would you give him about dealing with the tax issue, his bankruptcies, and the birther issue? All three of them seem to have put a hurt to him.
Well, Curtis, in all candor, I do not believe that Chris Christie, who, I believe is one of the only people who I thought, and I told you this on a past segment we did, I thought Christie could have influence with Trump. There is no influencing Donald Trump. He is his own best advisor. He believes he knows best. And so he went in last night playing it the way he wanted to. And now what does he say? Oh, I didn't go after Bill Clinton's indiscretions because I didn't want to hurt Chelsea, but I may do it the next time. Wait a minute. So now you're going to hurt Chelsea Clinton? Like, my point is, he's so erratic. He's so off the wall. He should have disclosed his taxes. He should have dealt with all these other issues. He should have gotten the birther thing out of control, out of the way with Obama a long time ago. But because he didn't, because he's so stubborn and he won't admit his mistakes, those people around him, Curtis, last thing I'll say, they don't tell him the truth as they see it because they're afraid of Trump and he doesn't listen to them. That makes him a bad leader. That's why there's a big chapter in my book on Trump being a bad leader because he doesn't listen, and Hillary just because she's not trustworthy.
Okay, so in this upcoming debate, round 2, and generally people do a lot better if they've gotten defeated in the first debate.
Generally.
He'll probably get geared up more, but in getting down and dirty, this was not a down and dirty debate other than maybe the last few moments where Hillary was calling him a misogynist and a sexist. Should he, at that moment, instead of hiding behind the fact that Chelsea was there, said something very simple, like, Hillary, really, with your husband here in the house, with all of his past issues involving women, you really are going to make that charge against me? And then just leave it there hanging.
See, Curtis, the problem is not with Bill Clinton. I believe if there is a charge to be made against Hillary Clinton, here's the charge. That she has not been particularly strong and helpful to the women who were involved with Bill Clinton, who the Clintons were very much a part of destroying their reputations, hurting those women. And Hillary was not particularly a feminist, in my opinion, and not supportive. And that is the issue. He needs to be able to articulate that in a way that isn't talking about Bill Clinton's indiscretions or being, someone who cheated on his wife, because that's not something people care about. What they care about is Hillary being inconsistent about it being a supporter of women because it wasn't to her advantage to do it when they had to do it with her husband. I don't know if he can articulate that, but he's a brute when he's out there. So what does he say? He says things, he calls people names. That doesn't work, Curtis. He doesn't have the nuance to be out there. Frankly, he was so ill-prepared last night. He made Hillary Clinton, who's not impressive, look very impressive.
Now, also, just from the aesthetics, just from listening, he was constantly sniffing.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that
Don't
to?
go there, Curtis.
Well, I already have.
Curtis.
If you go to
I listen to the show every day. I heard what you said.
Right, the Curtis Sankubi Twitter account. We just pimped off former Governor Dean in Vermont, who believes that he's using blow.
Let me tell you something. Governor Dean, the screamer from way back, ought to shut his mouth because there is enough to criticize Donald Trump about because of his lack of understanding of the issues, because of the fact that he wasn't prepared last night. Okay, so Trump is the guy who makes fun of Marco Rubio for drinking and sweating. You know what? That's Trump's game. The Democrats and Howard Dean should just be a little more classy and challenge him on the issues, not talk in such a guttural fashion. Howard Dean ought to be ashamed.
Yeah, but Steve,
frankly, Hillary Clinton should criticize him for that.
Steve, he was like a dromedary camel there. He was so thirsty. He kept just dousing himself with water. What was that all about?
I don't know. Maybe he had a cold. Maybe he wasn't feeling well. But I give people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to physical things. Curtis, you happen to be obsessed about people's physical comportment. Who's too big, who's sweating, who may be doing blow. Curtis, I got to tell you, I think you're better than that. You're way better
All
than
right.
that.
Well, I just said maybe he didn't take his Claritin D.
That's a strong – I'm going with that. I'm going that it was a Claritin issue.
Well, I high-five you. I high-five you on that. Steve Adubato, you can catch him on the PBS station, WNET, and obviously his book, Lessons in Leadership, one of whose chapters is dedicated to the Donald himself.
77 WABC.